Hey guys, Jeff here with Thrive Vans, and today I am doing a video on how to winterize your van or RV. And I did a video a couple of years ago on this, and found a really simple way to do it, much simpler than how we did it. Basically the same process, but we found a part that makes it really just a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot easier. So let's dive into it. So you can see right down here is our mechanical box for our plumbing, and we pulled the bed platform out. However you have to get at your plumbing, your pump is what you're going to need to get at. So whether you have to pull off your bed platform or there's a door on the side, however that is. But you can see here is the pump, and this is the coming out of the tank and going into the pump, and then it goes through the pump and branches off, goes to either the water heater or to the cold lines of the faucets for the sink and for the shower, outdoor shower. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of ways you could do this. We put hatches on our tank, so you could actually take this off and pour it in there. But the issue with that is that you're going to have the antifreeze in your tank, and you're not going to be able to get it all 100% out with the pump. And then you're also, when you go to refill your tank, it's going to mix with the water. It's going to take a lot longer to flush it out. It's a lot better to take the antifreeze right into the pump and then pump it through the system, because you really don't need it in the tank. The tank will expand and contract. It's not going to be damaged by the freezing. The things that could be damaged are your water pump, your water heater, and your faucets and your lines. The lines are flexible tubing and PEX, so even those are not likely to break. It's really, in my experience, the faucets and the pump and the water heater that can be the issues. I have had all of those damaged from freezing temperatures. Never had a tank or the lines be damaged from freezing. So what we're going to do first is we're going to drain the water heater. Now this is an isotemp water heater. If you have this type of water heater, you can drain it. If you have a Bosch water heater, there's really not a good way to drain it. I've tried it. You can pump the water out, which will work. Get a little hand pump and you can put a tube down and pump it out, but there is no drain on it. So the only other way to do it would be to pull it out and dump it out. If you try to blow it out, which I've tried doing, all it does is just kind of bubbles and gurgles, and the water doesn't come out completely. And so what you have to do in that case, if you don't get the water out, is you've just got to run a lot more of the antifreeze through, so that because the water, it's going to mix with the water and dilute it. But if you put enough through, I found about 4 or 5 gallons for a 2.5 gallon Bosch water heater will dilute that. Or I take that back. It'll still be strong enough to keep your lines from freezing once it gets diluted with the water. So, but with this water heater, we can drain it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, so you're just going to turn this black knob on the water heater, and that's going to open up the valve to drain. But then you've also need to open the hot water, because there's going to be a vacuum there. So I'm just going to open the hot on my faucet, and now it should start to drain. So we open up the faucet on the sink. Now we're also going to do one on the shower. Probably not much water in the water heater. Our drain is right there, and a little bit came out on the ground, but not much. So this is the part right here that we're going to be putting in, and I will link to this in the description. It's like $22 on Amazon, and what it's going to do is this side with the black thing on it is going to connect to the water pump, and then we're just going to we're going to disconnect the hose that comes out of the tank, and then we're going to put this onto the water pump, and then we're going to reconnect the hose to this one. Then on the top is where we'll connect a hose to fill with, or to put the antifreeze in, and then it has a bypass valve. So it's a three-way valve. Right now it's open, and then if I was to rotate it up like that, it would close the coming from the tank, and it would pull the antifreeze out of the bucket or the antifreeze bottles. And so it's a really easy way to do that. So we'll show you how that's going to work. We'll attach this right now. So if you have a water filter, I recommend taking it out. We had one right here, and I just disconnected it. Most water filters will have a bypass so that even if you take it off, the water can flow and water's not going to come out, but check yours to make sure. The reason I take it out is I found that if you run the pink antifreeze through the water filter, it's going to come out of the faucet and be clear, and you're not going to be able to tell if you're getting it in there or not. So I take it out, and it also could contaminate the filter. I don't know if it would for sure, but I've just found it's a lot easier to do it if you pull that filter out first before you run the antifreeze through the system. So we're just now disconnecting the intake hose that goes from the tank into the strainer. Okay, and then put that. Now we're going to put that little three-way valve on, and all these can just be hand tightened. So now we're going to reconnect the intake hose. So these all have washers, and they're all finger tight, so you don't really need to put any thread tape on them. You can, it's a little extra insurance, but you don't need to. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take that cap off, and you want to leave this when you're storing the van, leave that cap on. But to winterize it, we're just going to take the tube that is supplied with that valve in the kit, and you're going to screw that on. And again, you can just go finger tight with this. So what we're going to do is insert that tube right into the antifreeze. And then we're going to turn the pump on, and we're just going to pump it, and it's going to pump it out of that and in through the water pump and then into the system. And so I'm going to turn the water pump on. Oh, we need to turn the valve. So turn that little valve so it's in the up position. So it was taking from the pump. Now you can see the pink fluid starting to flow through, and it's starting to take it out of there. And what I'm going to do is I'm leaving my kitchen faucet on the hot, and I'm going to get it. It's going to go through the water heater and then out the faucet. So it's already starting to come out a little bit out of the faucet. And I just want to go hot and cold until it runs. You can hopefully see that that's kind of pink until a steady stream comes out on both the hot and the cold side. So that's good on the cold. The cold is going to take a lot less time because the hot is going through the water heater, and it's a 4-gallon water heater, so it's going to take a little bit more, but you can see there's a little bit in there. And as you get down, we're now at the end of that tube, so I'm going to turn the water pump off. Now we've got a second bottle, and we're just going to switch the tube from the first one into the second. Insert that in there. I'm going to turn the water pump back on, and we're going to keep pumping it through the hot water heater. So you can see that's it's getting pink, but I want it to, you can see here's the cold. It's a lot, you see how pink that is. And I want the hot to be just that dark. We've got the third bottle, and I've got this on the hot side, and it's starting to turn pink. You can see the pink coming out. Okay, now the cold side, and there it is. You can see it pink down there. Okay, so I'm going to do the hot and cold one more time here. So we're in our third gallon, and I'm just going to use up the rest of it, but we're nice and pink on both hot and cold. There we go. Okay, so that's it. We used 3 gallons, and we did put it into the gray tank, so I'm actually going to just hit the dump. And I'm going to dump most of it out, but I'm going to leave a little bit in there just so that we have a little bit of, this is the gray. You can see up here on the serbo, the freshwater tank's empty, the gray has a little bit in it. So I'm just going to leave a little bit in there so that it kind of, that doesn't freeze either. You can see all these tubes are filled with the pink fluid, which is exactly what we want. So now, Travis, what we're going to do is close the valve on that little, okay, and then we're just going to unscrew the tube. And then we put the cap back on. And now that's it. All we have to do now is you're going to leave that valve open. So now the water is only going to flow through out of the tank and into the pump. We've closed the one that goes to that extra intake hose. And in the spring, when we get ready to unwinterize the van, then all we're going to do is we're just going to fill it with fresh water as normal, and then just run the fresh water through until no more pink comes out of the faucet in the sink faucet or the shower, and then we're going to put the filter back in, and that's it. That's all you got to do. So hopefully this helped you. And in winterizing, it really is very simple. Probably 10 minutes total, and that includes putting that valve in. I will link to that valve in the description. Comes with the valve and the hose, so it's everything you need. You might want to add a hose clamp. It doesn't come with the hose clamp, and I did put one on to attach it, but you could probably do it without the hose clamp. Yeah, it's really worth winterizing your van or your RV, because you just don't want to have a problem in the spring when you turn things back on and find out that you've got a cracked faucet or a bad water pump or a leak somewhere. And so it's preventative maintenance that's well worth it. Hopefully this video helped with your winterizing. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.